Hey everybody, Dr. Shook here. How's it going? I know it looks crazy, right? Like, what in the world is he doing today? So I decided to show you guys a little bit behind the scenes of some of the things that we can do to biohack our biology. Which I know a lot of you are gonna look at this and not have any idea what I'm doing, but this is oxygen therapy. So I've got a nasal cannula here, using an oxygen concentrator. And I've got a nasal cannula, and I'm using these are light emitting diodes. You'll see that there are red diodes, and there's some that you'll see look purple here on the camera. Now in person, like, I can't see this with the naked eye. I mean, you don't look directly at it, but this is infrared. These are light emitting diodes here that are red light in the red light spectrum. And so the reason I have this, you see this whole get up on my head, it goes over my head and around, is because there's a lot of research today that shows that transcranial, so through the skull, illumination is beneficial for the neurons, the inflammatory state of the brain. A lot of, if there's inflammation, it's beneficial there. Energy production, and there are a lot of potential applications here. And I know it looks silly, and it kind of is, but at the same time, if you look, I've just posted on our Facebook page prior to going live a research article, and there are probably hundreds of articles now on transcranial illumination. You see these LEDs? Those are shining directly onto my skull, and so what they'll do is they'll illuminate the neurons that are of my brain, but they'll penetrate that deep. And so you can find a lot of research that's on this now, and they're looking at it for numerous applications, everything from post-concussion or brain injury to neurodegenerative conditions. They're looking at a lot of different applications. So I'm actually using oxygen therapy. So I'm on an oxygen concentrator, plus I have this transcranial illumination. Basically it's LEDs, it's infrared, and light emitting diodes. And it's on top of my head, as you can see here. I've got it wrapped around my head here, so there are diodes under here. See that? So it's illuminating a lot of different areas of my brain. And I'm just sitting here relaxing on lunch in one of our vibrating massage chairs. I've got, see, these are heating pads that I have behind me. See here, there's a large heating pad. They actually have, I love these heating pads. They're by a company called Therasage, and you see they have this special type of quartz. It's quartz in there, these quartz stones. So they get warm, and they give off great heat that penetrates really deeply. So it's I'm sitting here. The chair's vibrating. So there's an ottoman too. So you see down here, there's an ottoman. So the ottoman, the entire chair is vibrating. I have heat therapy, so I'm using these heating pads. I have transcranial illumination, so these are red light LEDs and infrared. You see the purple, that's infrared. And then I'm using oxygen therapy. So I'm doing all these things at one time. So this is really, I'm using this for neurological stimulation. But there's a lot of research on using transcranial illumination. I knew that you guys would find it kind of comical to see me like this, but I wanted to show you guys that there's a lot of stuff that you may not be exposed to, you may not be aware of, but you can look. You just go to PubMed if you're curious at all about transcranial illumination, or whether I'm crazy or not, if you think this is completely ridiculous. But we have a lot of different types of lasers and lights that we use in our office depending on the need, and I just I fit these around my head to utilize them to actually support optimal brain function. But you can go, if you're curious about transcranial illumination or any of that stuff, go to our Facebook page, The Office of Dr. Brad Shook. You're watching this live stream on it. I posted immediately before I did this because I knew there were going to be people that were like, what are you doing? Is there any science behind it? There's tons of science behind it. It's called transcranial illumination, and it's really, really a promising area of study. There's a promising area of research that is leading to a lot of potential benefit in neurodegenerative conditions, optimizing brain health, post-concussive injuries. So this is the kind of stuff that I'm interested in. I'm interested in trying to figure out how can we optimize our physiology and really be as healthy as possible. Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's getting hot. I know, right? That's what I put this on and I was like, this is kind of, I I don't know, it kind of made me think I was either like wearing a, like you see the samurai helmets, you know, or you see something from Star Wars. That had me thinking that too. But I'm at my office, guys. That's where I'm at. Hey, Barb. Yeah, you know, it's interesting. Sometimes, you know, you have to push the envelope of things to really, you know, make progress. And so you can look this up, Barb, if you're interested in transcranial illumination and how it's being used for neurodegenerative conditions. I knew that a lot of people would be kind of shocked by it, think it's crazy, and that's quite all right, because it gets your attention and gives you an opportunity to learn something new that might actually be able to benefit you or someone that you love, especially if they're dealing with some kind of neurodegenerative condition for which most people will tell you there's no cures or answers. There are a lot of potential benefits to this stuff, so I wanted to share it with you guys so you'd be the first to know. So anyway, I wanted to share this with you guys before I get back to it, but just give you a peek inside of the office and get a better idea of some of the things that you can do to biohack your biology. But guys, if you're interested in these things, just look it up. You know, guys, the oxygen therapy, I use the oxygen therapy because I wanted to saturate my red blood cells with oxygen. And I don't do it for a long period of time, and I don't do this like every day, but this is something that I'll do to try and improve saturation of oxygen. You know, some people are real shallow breathers, and sometimes when I'm reading or I'm working, I'm not focused on I'm not focused on breathing and taking good deep breaths. I'm not moving enough. So one of the things I try to do is I'll do oxygen therapy periodically to saturate my red blood cells so I get better oxygen delivery. I don't do it for a long period of time, maybe 15 minutes or so, 20 minutes, and really try to saturate my tissues with oxygen. Now, if you think about it, what are the building blocks of that? What do your cells have to produce energy? They have to have fuel, and they have to be activated. That's what, for a neuron to work properly, it has to have a nerve cell, it has to have oxygen, and it has to have glucose. Then it has to be stimulated by a stimuli, right? So this vibration, like you guys might not realize this, but a lot of the things I'm doing are actually stimulating my neurons, my brain. It's lighting this. All this stuff is lighting. I'm doing vibration on my chair. I've got heat therapy on my back, and the ottoman of this chair is heated too. Those are all stimulating sensory nerves throughout my body that are firing to my brain, lighting my brain up like a light bulb. And that is, you know, for a brain and for your nerve cells to be healthy, you have to activate them. This is a form of, I'm just sitting here passively. You know, I could be walking or moving and activating these neurons, but I can also do it by just sitting here. So it's a form of passive activation of the brain. And so for nerve cells to be healthy, you have to fire them. You know, if you don't use it, you lose it. Well, the neurons are a lot like that. So the other things that the neurons need, other than just activation, which is what a lot of the vibration and the heat are doing, is they need oxygen and they need glucose. So I'm really saturating my blood cells with oxygen using the concentrator right now. But like I said, I won't use it that long. But I'm just trying to saturate my blood cells and relax a little bit, doing transcranial illumination here. You see the LEDs? And so there's a lot of research on this. I know it looks crazy. There's a lot of research on transcranial illumination. I think we're going to see that it's going to be very, very promising in the future, especially for neurodegenerative conditions. So you guys should check it out. You can go to pubmed.gov, which is where they peer review indexed research is peer reviewed, and you can just type in transcranial illumination. You're going to find a ton of research. It's really going to be I think it's going to be very, very helpful in inflammatory neurological conditions and you know, those neurodegenerative, brain degenerative conditions. So anyway, guys, hope this helps you out. And there's some good questions on here. Does it not make me get addicted? No, I don't use it. I don't use it like every day. Does the oxygen not make you get addicted? No, I mean, you know, all I'm trying to do is temporarily use it to really saturate my blood cells. I'm not using it extensively. I mean, I'm not using it day in and day out, because you would think, you know, there's this idea of adaptation, right? When you get in higher altitudes, you'll produce more blood cells to carry oxygen, so you have a greater capacity. But what if oxygen is too abundant? Could you get oxygen sickness and a lot of those things? Yeah. I mean, if you use pure oxygen, but a concentrator for one thing, a concentrator is not pure oxygen, and I don't have the flow rate all the way up, and I'm not sitting here for a prolonged period of time. We're just trying to saturate the red blood cells and get really optimal oxygenation of the tissues. And so I'll use like a ToughSat, which I don't have in here with me, a ToughSat, which will look at perfusion and saturation. And so I'll really look at tissue perfusion and try to get those levels as optimal as possible. But anyway, guys, just wanted to share this with you, give you a little bit of behind the scenes. We've been working a lot today. Alicia's working really, really hard. We're trying to finish up our detoxification program, which actually I just talked to Alicia today, and we're working on some of the finalized components of our detoxification program that's going to be inside of our transformation community. And it is going to be really, we've found some things, and for me, it's like when I start working on these projects, I end up doing a ton of research, a lot more than I ever thought I would do. And I think it's going to be an amazing, amazing program that we're going to make available to everyone in our transformation community. So if you're not in our transformation community, guys, I don't know what you're waiting on, because it's seriously, you get in there, we've got our transformation program, we're going to have our detoxification program, and then you get access to our closed Facebook group, and you get like 35% off of all these physician-only supplements with free shipping over $50. It actually saves people a ton of money, and we're going to share with you crazy stuff like this that we do and research on it and try to help you have the best life possible. So guys, appreciate you a ton. I got to jump off here though, because I got to get back to it, but I wanted you to be able to peer inside of some of the things that we do to try to improve our biology and health. So appreciate you guys so much. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thanks.